Hello, and thank you for joining me here on this Tuesday midday workshop. And thanks for making us part of your day. Today, we're going to be talking about Localist promotion and two specific ways Localist helps promote your events with channels and widgets. First, if you're new to this workshop series, all of my previous recordings are available right now in the Concept3D Help Center at help.concept3d.com. Please check them out. You can also find them on YouTube. And this presentation will be available for on-demand viewing a little later this afternoon, so be sure to keep your eyes peeled for that in case anyone on your team was unable to join today. Brief introduction here. My name is Andy Marshall, and I'm the Customer Education Lead for Concept3D, representing our client success team. I was previously the onboarding specialist for Localist events, helping new clients set a good foundation for their calendar success going forward. If you have any questions, you can reach me at the email address shown here, or if you can't remember, please reach out to support@concept3d.com. Here's a quick look at our agenda. We're going to start with channels before we go into what you need to know, what a channel admin is, and then some use case examples. We're going to talk how to create and manage channels before we take a short front-end demonstration just to show you where all of those things live. And then we're going to do the same thing with widgets. We're going to talk about the public widget builder. We're going to look at the widget builder template. We're going to take a look at some custom widgets that you can add, and then also take a look at the Q&A as well. And down here in the bottom right, please be sure to look for these sticky notes as I go. You'll see what permission level is going to be required for each feature or tool that I talk about here today. Okay, so starting with channels. Now, these tools create home pages for subsets of your community's events within the platform. So you can think of these as a calendar within a calendar. Or one of my favorite ways to describe channels is that they are topic-specific home pages. And I'm going to dive into some examples shortly. Channel use case is typically going to fall into one of these four categories that you see here. A channel can be temporary, and they can house events under a temporary they can house events under a time-bound theme, like a limited series, a holiday, a conference, or a seasonal retreat. A channel can be a collection of events, pulling together a variety of related events, like those that are hosted by a group of nonprofits that are all from the same region. They can have their own channel to highlight their events. Channels can be private. And with a combination of channel and event visibility settings, you can create private channels that can only be accessed by direct URL. If you have a set of events that you'd rather keep away from your homepage and main calendar, and restrict to only a certain audience. And lastly, channels can be unique. Channels have the ability to reflect different brand elements for specially branded events or initiatives. You can apply channel-specific CSS combined with a few quick layout changes to create an entirely new look and feel from your homepage. So in order to add, edit, or remove a channel, you're going to need to be granted channel admin permissions. Now, if you're in the admin dash, you can click content, but if you do not see channels listed, it's very likely you do not have channel admin access and should contact your organization's calendar team to have your permissions escalated. So where are these channels created and managed? Well, they're available in the admin dashboard, where you're going to have access to what you see here, your channel layout editor, for each channel, where layout changes are as simple as dragging and dropping your different components around the page as to where you'd like them to be. Each box here on this list on the left represents something on your corresponding channel. So the filter button here, or the filter events and platform nav boxes here, represent the drawers on your home page. This submit an event button here represents the larger planning and event component. Now, let's say you wanted this planning and event component above your event tabs. You would just drag this tab or over event tabs groups and save your changes. So you can view all of your channels and their visibility status at a glance right from the channel menu of the admin dash. You will see a single channel listed when getting started, which is your homepage. So think of your homepage as the main channel, and all other channels that you create from there are subsets of that main calendar. Here I have two created. One that has all of the sports events for my organization, and one that contains all the volunteer opportunities at that presenting organization. From this menu, you would just click Add Channel to get started. And from there, it's going to bring you to the Adding a Channel menu. Where creating a new channel, you'll have the following settings to configure. So copy layout from, if you have a channel that you want to copy the layout from to add a new channel that you like the layout of, you can simply just copy from that, or you can copy directly from your home page. all previously created channels will be included in that dropdown to select from. Your page title, this is what's going to appear in the browser tab and your breadcrumbs bar when navigating the Localist platform. Your header text, this appears at the top below the header image as an H1. Your custom URL, you're able to add a custom vanity URL. So for example, /sports or /example to the end of your custom domain. For visibility, you have the three options, as I mentioned earlier. If your channel is set to visible, that is now public and it can be accessed by anyone visiting your calendar page. Hidden, it is still live on your platform. However, it's only accessible via that direct URL or hyperlink provided by a member of the calendar team or someone affiliated with the calendar team itself. And then lastly, you can click to disabled, which means it's just completely offline. The great thing about channels is that you can flip back and forth from public to offline whenever you need. So let's say you created a channel for Halloween and you're only promoting Halloween events 1 month out of the year. As soon as that November 1 comes around, you can disable that channel. And as soon as September 30th comes around the next year, you can flip that right back on and your Halloween channel is all set to go. For a cover photo, we have a recommended size of 1600 by 228 or larger. That is a long, skinny photo. If you'd like to use a bigger one, we can always adjust using CSS. To lock navigation to a channel, if it's unchecked, links will take you out of the channel and to a results page containing all events. So if you want people to remain in the channel when clicking on events, make sure that's checked. And then lastly, your custom CSS box. This is where you would add that channel-specific CSS apart from your homepage so that it only affects that corresponding channel. But what do your visitors see? So we just took a look at some of the things you're going to see in the admin dash. And I have a nice little GIF here that's going to show you. We'll go ahead and open up the calendar resources drawer. And all of your channels are going to be listed here in this other calendars menu. This can be retitled to your liking, but by default, it does say other calendars. Click the name of a channel to be brought to it. And you'll see it looks very similar to your home page, including the filter nav, submit and event components, and trending and upcoming tab lists. You can even have channel-specific featured carousels separate from your home page. And by default, it does have the trending and upcoming tabs that can be customized the exact same way as the tabs on your home page as well. All right, well, we're going to just go ahead and jump into the live environment here. And as you can see, this should look familiar. This was the platform I was just showing you in that GIF, but we are now live on the platform. This is our home page. So as you can see, there's no vanity URL here. But if we go ahead and open up our calendar resources drawer, and we'll see those previously listed calendars, we'll just go ahead and click sports. And then again, you see this one has a custom URL of /sports channel. And not a lot going on sports-wise at the moment at CSM University, but we do have ticket presale, tailgate, and basketball games. So if I only was interested in the sporting events the organization or university you're putting on, you'd be able to kind of highlight those in a separate way. You could do that by team. You could do that by season. A lot of different ways you can organize your content with Localist. If we go ahead and head back up to the admin dash, and again, what I mentioned before, if we click on content, if you do not see channels here when clicking on content, you should contact your calendar team just to make sure that you are a calendar admin, or excuse me, a channel admin, so that you'll be able to see this and then enter that menu. And again, as I mentioned before, you'll have all of these at a glance along with their visibility. All three of mine are public. And to add a channel, you go ahead and click the button in the upper right corner to get started. Now, once you save an event, you're going to be brought immediately to its channel layout editor. So the first thing it'll do is have you save those basic information, the basic information about the channel before it brings you here to determine what you'd like to add to that channel. So here we're going to go down to event tabs and we are going to figure out what we'd like to show in our trending events. So let's say this was a fundraisers channel. So now fundraisers are going to be included. Anything that's marked as fundraiser is going to be included on my fundraiser channel. Similarly, I can exclude events just in case, like let's say we want to make sure that it's fundraisers, but not sporting events because we already have a channel for that. We want to make sure that those things are excluded. You can include based on event type, topic, target audience, your place pages, your groups and departments. You can include based on a tag that you'd be using or a keyword. and you can exclude by those very same classification pieces. I'll go ahead and close those out here. If you want to replace a layout with a different one that already exists while you're in here, you can go ahead and click Replace Layout, and it will show you all of your existing channels, as well as the option to copy from a blank layout and the homepage layout. All right. So now that we've looked at promoting events within your calendar, let's take a look at how to promote them outside of your calendar on other web pages with widgets. Now, the permissions required here are twofold. To build templates within the admin dash, you do need to be a platform admin. However, the ability to create a widget embed is available to anyone. You don't even need to be logged into the platform to do it. You can just do this right from your home page, and we'll take a look at what all that looks like in just a second. So you can think of these as an ambassador for your events that can be curated based on existing classification or date ranges, just like a channel. A widget is embedded on an external page to display event content, and it's going to drive users back to your calendar when clicking, centralizing that traffic. So here's a good example of how a widget can interact on a web page. These two mockups here are our out-of-the-box templates available to you in the widget builder. Our list template, which is much more simple, just a simple list of events, as well as our card widget template, which includes a photo and a little bit more lively on the page. And again, anytime I click on an event here, it's going to bring me back to your Localist calendar. So if you'd like to make changes to existing widget templates or even create your own, you have access to the code in the admin dashboard. And we'll take a look at that more in just a second when we go into the admin demo. On the right here, as far as creating an actual widget with content, the widget builder form is available on your production side of the platform. You're just going to select the criteria to pull events, select the template you want to use, and then click Generate Embed Code at the bottom of the form. It's as easy as that, and it's a really great way to bring traffic to your calendar once you've launched. Now, before we jump back into the admin dash to take a look at some widget functions, here are some suggestions on how you can use widgets on your website. So here on the left, we have a prominent card widget for the University of North Dakota. You can see here, this takes up a majority of one of the segments on their website here. Nice big photo, a lot of space here dedicated to it. On the right, Florida State University is using a simple list next to their quick links section. You can see much smaller, no photo. They're using the list version here, but same functionality though. Clicking on any of these events here that you see is going to bring them right to the UND or FSU calendar pages. The MIT Center for International Studies is a departmental page at MIT, and they're using a small supplemental widget with just one upcoming event shown to add more information to the page. Lastly, you can have a widget fill an entire page. USC Rossier School of Education has a full page widget on their events tab where all of this page content is updated automatically by the Localist widget once relevant events are added to the calendar. So to think of it this way, this page might live on your website. However, the content is provided entirely by a Localist widget when clicking on the events button here. Now, if you're wondering where you can add widgets, here's a couple spots to consider. The most obvious one, and the one we would recommend as a best practice, is on your website's homepage. At least dedicate some space to it, whether it's supplemental or complementary. It's a great way to promote events right from your homepage. Similarly, if you have something like the Department of International Studies that MIT had with a departmental website for themselves, they can promote their own events using a widget right on their own page. They don't need to include any other events. If they set the widget to only include international studies events and then embed on that on the page, that's all it would show. If you have any community partners that are willing to promote events on their website, you can send them the public widget builder to create their own, or you can simply send them the code to embed themselves. A widget can be embedded in a community newsletter, so something to think about there. And then lastly, I think one of the more creative uses is that it can be used in digital signage, such as like TVs, digital billboards, or video walls around campus as a simple embed into that system. If interested in that, please reach out. We'll be able to get some things started for you. All right. So, widgets. jumping ahead here. We're going to go back to the home page here. This is the widget builder platform, but I want to show you how to get there from the home page. So here we are again on our Concept3D Client Success University platform. And if we go ahead and open this calendar resources drawer, you're going to find the widget builder living here under Share Events. Now we can just click on that here, and it's going to be bring us to our Build and Events widget page. Now, if you want to limit the access to this page, maybe you don't want the public being able to do this kind of stuff, you'd be able to hide that with CSS. So just go ahead and consider that if you wanted to maybe have less access to creating widgets. We'd be able to hide that from the platform, where this page would still be live. However, it would only be accessible by people who know it exists. From here, this is where you'd be able to select your template. We see we have a couple test ones here, as well as the first one we made. That's where we would select any of the pre-made ones that we'll talk about in just a moment here. Select number of results, how far into the future or how far into the past. You can create a past widget by just adding a negative sign here. If you wanted to maybe show some past events that an organization or department has had over the last month. However, most people want to show in the future, so you would just add a positive integer there. Again, very similar to a channel. You're going to go ahead and choose, if there's we want to only include virtual events, you have that option here. And then you can filter by groups, departments, places, event types, topics, your target audiences, and then any keywords and tags that are being included on events as well. You can choose to only show events that have been selected as featured, only events that have shown as sponsored. Including all matching instances would mean if you have a recurring event, like let's say it happens 3 times a week, if you want all 3 of those to be listed, you just make sure this is clicked. If not, it's only going to show the soonest upcoming event of that recurring event. And then lastly, you can hide past events immediately from the platform once they've passed. Content must match. Here's where you're going to set up the logic for your widget. So you would just the events that are filtering into your widget have to follow this criteria. So at least one place, group, keyword, or tag, and one filter item. Any place, group, keyword, tag, or filter item, that's usually the most common one. But again, if you want to get really specific about what's being included, you can make sure and really fine tune it based on the logic there. And similarly, you can do the same thing with excluded content. If we head down here to display options, this is where we would select the 2 options. So we have our list option or mini calendar plus list, and then our style, modern, card, classic. We have examples of these all on our Concept3D Help Center. But card is the one that included that photo. And again, we have a bunch of options down here. We can hide or add descriptions. You have the option to truncate a description if it's a little long. If your description includes an HTML component, you'd be able to render that using this checkbox here. Hide event images, hide event times, hide view all events link. All widgets that you create will eventually have a small message in the bottom that just says view all events once the designated time frame has been passed. Hide the filter dropdown and open links in a new window. Pretty self-explanatory there. However, if you come down here, this is where you would generate the code. If you just click this, ta-da, it's going to open up right there, already copied. All you need to do is right-click and copy, and then bring this to wherever you're going to embed it. Now, let's say I wanted to preview. You got that option here. This is going to open in a new tab. And as you can see, I selected mini calendar and our card. Now, obviously, this is just on a blank page. I haven't done any styling to it yet. This is pretty much what it would look like directly out of the box, but you are able to customize this. That we're going to take a look at that in just a second. As we hop back into the admin dash. Now, widgets can be found, again, just like channels under content. If you click widgets, you're going to be brought directly to the widget builder template. Now, if you have access to this as a platform admin, you can also reach the public widget builder right up here. If you click that, should just bring you to that page that we were just on. However, if you are now trying to build a template, now a template is what you see here. This is the code that is going to be followed when embedding a widget on a page. And here you can see the code to all of the templates or default widgets, and include even a couple that you can use for other reasons that we'll get to in just a second. If you do create any custom widgets, you go ahead up here and click Add Widget Template. You're going to give it a display name. This is how it's going to show up in that list that we just saw. So Andy example. The internal name here, that's why it's spelled wrong. The internal name here, it's just going to take the form here. It's just going to be what is referred to internally on the localist side. Here's where you can copy from an existing template. So you can even copy from your custom templates here using First Template or Kristen's. We're just going to go ahead for List Classic. And then if you want this to display on the page, you can go ahead and make sure this is checked. If this is unchecked, this will only appear in that list in the admin dash. So we'll go ahead and save our changes. And now you'll see Andy example has been moved right to this custom widgets menu. Now, if I scroll through here, we're going to see a lot of different code in here. If we pop up here, we'll be able to look at how you can change different parameters within the widget itself. So if you take a look here, right here at the top, we have start making your color and font changes here. And this is where you would just add hex codes to assign a link color, a hover color, button color, etc. You'd be able to assign a font family right here. It is a touch more technical than what we have for channels right now. However, it is pretty simple if you just have the font family name. And then you can go down here and start to really fine tune using CSS. You'll see there's a lot of things you can customize on here. I'm not going to get too deep into it just in the interest of time, but you can see a lot of different things. Container, you can choose background color, padding, border radius, alignment, a lot of different things you can customize in there. Same goes for your mini calendar plus list. All of these are going to have, you're going to see them all at the top with these red and orange letters. That's an indicator you can edit that information. When you're ready to preview, just click preview, and this will show you what you've done. Here we have the mini calendar plus a list, and I have my filter drop down here. If I wanted to, you have the option to choose to include this or not. But if you did want to just see, like, now here's the fundraisers going on, you have the option to include that in your widget or not. But that's how it would work if I just wanted to toggle to specific filter types, or it'll just show me everything if I go back to choose type. Okay, I believe that covers it for widgets. Go ahead and close that. All right, well, just want to make sure we mention here at the end here to review our resources. All Localist accounts do have a dedicated client success manager to achieve best results and keep up to date on new features and functionality. If you have any questions about this today, please reach out to them or me, and we'll both be able to help you get set up on your channels and widgets. Please visit help.concept3d.com. I have a lot of documentation on there on these two subjects and building more, and this video will be probably part of that coming soon if you wanted to run it back, but all of that will live at help.concept3d.com. We have a lot of great help articles as well as blog posts on ways to use widgets on your website, examples of widgets. We have a full custom widget menu in case you're not as technical and you want to maybe pick out a widget that we have pre-made. We'll be able to show that and see if any of them would work for you. Lastly, if you do have a question or maybe a technical issue, you can always create a support ticket at support@concept3d.com, and a member of our team will be back in touch with you as soon as possible. Real quick plug here, my next workshop is going to be August 22nd at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be Interactive Map New User 201. We're going to be looking at some of the lesser known or more interesting features of the new being a new map user and what those mean. So be sure to check that out again, August 22nd at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 Mountain. All right, with that, does conclude my presentation today. Any questions I can answer before we wrap up?